there everybody, this is Christopher Brower here with Daily Motor, and today we are driving the 2021 Lexus RC F Fuji Speedway Edition. Now this is not entirely a new car. You would have known this car in 2020 as the RC F Track Edition. They've simply renamed it for the 2021 model year. Still looks just as cool. We still have those really nice 19-inch forged BBS wheels, carbon ceramic brakes, carbon fiber front lip, carbon fiber hood, carbon fiber side skirts, carbon fiber rear diffuser, and of course this large carbon fiber spoiler. Oh, and a carbon fiber roof. So lots of carbon fiber going on, lots of cool sort of accents on the outside of this car that set it apart from everything else. You know it's the Fuji Speedway Edition. Especially because it only comes in two colors, this gray and then a white as well. And on the inside we have this gorgeous red interior. We've got a mix of leather and Alcantara. We've also got some nice red stitching on the parts that are black. And more carbon in the interior as well, except they've weaved in some sort of red into this carbon fiber, which is pretty cool. You'll see that on both door panels as well as a little strip here on the dash. As far as powertrain goes, it's the same as any other RCF. 5-liter V8, 472 horsepower, 8-speed automatic. Though we do have some titanium mufflers. I have not been able to tell that they make it any louder. I don't really think they do, but they do look cool. So let's go ahead and take this Fuji Edition RCF for a drive and see what it's like on the road. I will say I love when manufacturers put color on the bottom of the steering wheel. AMG was known for doing that in the 90s, as well as Volvo with their performance cars. It's almost like they take the steering wheel and they just like dip it in a little bit of candy or chocolate or something. I think it adds like a cool little touch to this. When you're driving in normal mode, this car just feels like any other Lexus, really. It's nice and quiet, it's comfortable. The suspension tuning is spot on for what you'd expect for a car of this nature, wearing this badge. As I mentioned earlier, 5-liter V8, 8-speed automatic. Everything is silky smooth, as you'd expect with a Lexus. Of course, when you do stick it over into manual mode, we'll put it into sport here, lock it into first gear. The paddles are nice and responsive. Engine's very red happy as well. We can rev it all the way up to about 7250. Downshifts are pretty crisp. It shifts fast. I will say I do prefer the 10-speed in the LC500 though. It's just that much more satisfying to drive. This car is still pretty good though. I love when you switch drive modes in a Lexus, it changes the look of the tachometer there in the middle. Super cool feature. You cannot beat the sound of a naturally aspirated 5-liter V8. Something that Lexus always does such a great job on is their exhaust note on their F cars and their performance cars. This is gonna sound hilarious, but I wish the downshifts were a little bit more dramatic. Got your little shift beep there. It's also something that's very irritating, but you get used to it after a while. Yeah, this car is fast, but I wouldn't call it fast for $100,000, which is the next point I'd like to get to. This thing starts at $98,000 for this particular Fuji Speedway Edition RCF. The one that we're testing today is about $103,000. It's got a couple options, different headlights, Mark Levinson, and navigation, and bumpy. A couple other things. God, I'm being shaken to death. Is this because I put it in Sport Plus? I think it is. I'm gonna put it back into normal mode. Okay. And automatic. But if you think about it, if I was gonna spend $100 grand on a Lexus, I think I'd have an LC500, because why not? It's got the same engine, it has a better transmission, you're not giving up any sort of cabin space. It looks cooler, it sounds better. I mean, yes, this is very cool because it is a 1 of 60 special edition car with a big spoiler and whatnot. But I think if I was going to go for $100 grand, I would have an LC500. And outside of Lexus, I mean, you can have a base Porsche 911 for the cost of this thing. $100,000 is a big price, and it's big shoes to fill if you're going to charge 6 figures for a track car. There is always a nice solid feeling, though, to Lexuses. But I think Lexus spends so much time getting their cars perfect that they end up falling behind, because this car does feel a little bit outdated, even though it is brand new. In some aspects, like the infotainment and really everything else in this interior, it feels so outdated. The infotainment is extremely irritating to operate. Of course, it's not a touchscreen, and even if it was, you wouldn't be able to reach it comfortably. So you have this little mouse pad down here that you can control things with. But yesterday I was trying to find how you adjust like the different sound levels, bass, you know, everything like that. And I couldn't figure it out. I still haven't figured it out. Like, you go to setup and then it takes you through a million other menus. It doesn't let you do some things while you're driving, but it's not in there. Then you have to go back to menu if you want to get back to Apple CarPlay. And oh, say you're on Waze and you want to report a police officer, you have to go all the way around here, down to here. It's very irritating and non-ergonomic, and, you know, it's just not the best thing. Anyways, here comes an entrance ramp. A little bit of intervention from traction control there. We should be safe to take this at about 60. Oh yeah. No problems at all. We take it, ooh, a little bit. Oh, yeah, nope, we're good. Good shifts there. But yes, the infotainment, very irritating, standard Lexus. We are getting new infotainment, though, in the new Lexus NX, and I'm hoping that that infotainment system carries over to the other Lexuses as well. It's hard to explain what it is, but there's something really satisfying about driving the Lexus LC500 that you just don't get with any other Lexus. And it's true for this one as well. This is a very good car to drive, but I'm finding myself not being as entertained as I would be if I was driving the LC. And the LC is the same price, so it's a little bit hard for me to justify why you would buy this car. Lexus rev limiters are the best. There are so many other cars for the price that'll perform like this one, so this car is really just like a gimmick. It's Toyota saying, yeah, here's your special edition car, here's what we can do. I think it's kind of the swan song for the RCF. I think that this car is going to be no more very soon, or at least this generation of the car will probably be just a distant memory very soon. But we can only hope that Lexus will continue to make things better. If the next generation RCF or any of the F cars or anything like the LC500, I cannot wait, because that car is well, it's the best car I've ever driven. And I think that getting into other Lexuses, I'm always just slightly disappointed, because the LC500 is such a perfect car that it's hard to compare anything to it. And being able to see what Toyota's capable of with that car, it's almost disappointing when you don't see that same level of effort in these other F cars. It is very pretty though, this thing. I've been standing around most of the morning just staring at it because I love how it looks, interior and exterior wise. I think that they've done the sort of Yabo, you know, spoiler and everything and all the carbon fiber, but they've done it tastefully in a Lexus way. It's not overboard, though there is a lot of it. It's classy still. It's still Lexus. It's still something that isn't straining on the eyes. It doesn't look like a stupid, you know, Honda Civic or something. It's still very nice, and of course it's accented beautifully with this red interior. It definitely looks the part, and that's really all that it needs to do when it's sitting in a boomer's garage collecting dust. But is what it is, I guess. These cars will be worth a bunch of money someday, I'm sure, so I'll probably never be able to own one, but at least I'm driving one today. All right, everyone, and that is going to conclude our drive of the Lexus RC F Fuji Speedway Edition. Hope you've enjoyed listening to this 5-liter V8. I've enjoyed this drive today, even though this car doesn't really make any sense, but it's cool. I think we'll end with that. It is a cool car. It's a cool car for enthusiasts to appreciate. Probably not to buy, but, you know, to look at and appreciate. It's fantastic. It's fun to drive. It's certainly not the best car for $100 grand, but Lexuses usually aren't the best choice in the categories that they go in, but they're always cool. They always have a lot of soul and character, and the same can be said for this car. I can tell you one thing: if you do buy one of these, the odds are you and 0.2 of another person will be like the only one in your state that has one. So that didn't make any sense, I'm sorry. But anyways, thank you all for watching. As always, this has been Christopher Brower with Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.